Welcome back to That's Entertainment, the weekly entertainment show where we look at all the interesting news from last week, this week. This week, we're going to be talking with Neil Wirasinha, who's our Chief Revenue Officer at Gruvi, who's just recently joined us. Neil, please introduce yourself.
Hey, Ben. Nice to see everybody. So I'm Neil Wirasinha. I've worked in the movie industry for 20 years, looking after the media side at Universal Pictures for the last 19 years. So lots of experience in the space and really a great time to join Gruvi. Just as we close 22 and head into 23, lots of exciting things ahead.
So we've just seen that the box office admissions are still running 30% behind where they were in 2019. Obviously, they're up massively from 2020, as we'd expect, and 2021 too. But Neil, why do you think certain audience segments are still slow to return to the cinemas today? What might be keeping them back?
Well, I think even as we were going, and when I was at Universal, going into the pandemic, there were certain audience segments that were already holding out from going to see. Certainly the younger end of the audience had some holdouts, and then really the older end through health holdouts. But equally, there are other factors that are affecting it. So obviously we look at box office grosses, and the US dollar rate to foreign currency plays a role. So it might actually look like the audience is migrating bigger, but that's a compounded effect of currency as well. But fundamentally, yes, audiences have been dropping off, and that's because choice and convenience is significantly higher. If we look at audiences and their consumption of content, that has grown every single week, month, day. So things haven't shifted in terms of that overall, but the cinema going habit for sure looks like it's impacted. I mean, Ben, what are your thoughts? I mean, I've got two teenagers, and I would say that their screen time on TikTok and other platforms is over 3 hours a day, which is the equivalent to any of the Lord of the Rings films. So content is being consumed. It's just in a different way.
So looking at the breakdown of Gen Z 14 to 24-year-olds, playing video games accounts for 26% of their time, listening to music 14%, browsing the internet 12%, engaging on social platforms 11%, and watching TV movies at home 10%. So at the end of the day, your average Gen Z has only got 27% of their available free time to do other things, of which cinema obviously forms a function. But as you can see, they're completely immersed in other forms of cultural activities, the largest one being gaming. There's also a very interesting quote that I read from the Kamal Nanjiani, writer and actor. I grew up watching Ghostbusters and Gremlins and Indiana Jones. If I'd grown up watching YouTube, I don't know if I would like movies. Okay, that's perhaps a very far extension, but given the amount of competition for the limited resource of free time, there does seem to be a lot competing with the opportunity to go to the movies. But then I also think, one of the things that balances out is a quote that we always love to go back to from Tim League from Alamo Drafthouse, right? Which is, cinema is not competing against home entertainment options. It's actually competing against restaurants, comedy clubs, and out-of-home experiences. And people inherently as a society want to get out the house, and that is more true than ever right now. So says Tim League, CEO of Alamo Drafthouse.
I mean, even Deloitte have essentially said exactly the same thing, that Gen Z far much prefer to play video games, stream music, and engage on social media. And also the amount of hours on video games, if you then look at the Twitch channels, the number of hours that are created around that broadcasting opportunity. So I still think there is a high degree of attention span when it comes to the right content. But the challenge for movies and movie marketeers like ourselves, it is increasingly more difficult. And trying to pull that 15 to 24-year-old audience in is a challenge.